Hello everyone, welcome to the session. In this video, we are going to learn how to deactivate and reactivate a user in Salesforce. So let's proceed and learn firstly what does we mean by deactivate a user. In Salesforce, deactivating a user means suspending their access from the system and disabling their login credentials. It is done when a user no longer needs to access the Salesforce platform, such as when an employee leaves the company or when an account needs to be permanently disabled. And deactivating a user is also known as deleting a user, as there is no other way to permanently delete the user from the Salesforce org. So with this we understand the meaning of a deactivate user, but some of you may get confused between deactivate and unfreeze. So let's discuss the difference between deactivate and unfreeze first. Firstly, understand the meaning of a freeze a user. Freezing a user means temporarily suspending a user access, but in case of deactivating a user, we means permanently disabling a user access. And we use the freeze case when employees goes on a long leave, investigate of a suspicious activities are done, and temporarily restricting access. And for deactivating a user, we have a use cases such as employee resigned or terminated, the contractor project is completed, and the last one is due to policy violation, access was removed from the user. So now the next point that we need to discuss is a notification. When you are freezing a user, it is optional to inform a user that you are going to freeze him. But when you are deactivating a user, it is always recommended to notify the user that you deactivate their account. Now for the duration, uh, the freezing is a temporary and later on you can unfrozen the account of a user, but in case of a deactivate it is permanent. But if you still want to reactivate the user, you can reactivate it. Now the main and the most important difference between two is that the license. In case of a freeze user, the license assigned to the user is not free by the freezing a user. Okay, the license is always occupied if you freeze the user. But when you are deactivating the user, it frees up the license so that a new user can use that license to access the Salesforce platform. So I hope you clearly understand the difference between freeze and deactivate of a user account. So now let's proceed and discuss how to deactivate a user in Salesforce. The first step is that you need to log in into your Salesforce account with the help of your credentials. After you successfully logged into your account, your first step is to need to check whether you are logged in a lightning experience or a classic one. If you are logged into the classic one, you can shift yourself to the lightning. Now the step is to click on the gear icon that is located on the top right side and click on the setup option for redirecting yourself to the setup of a current app, or you can say a main setup page. After you reached on the main setup page, you will get a quick find bar on the left side of the page. And in this quick find bar, you need to type users, and when you type it, it shows you the search result regarding the users. And here you will get a users option under the users section. You need to click on this users option. So when you click on user, it moves to the page where all the users list is created. Now you have a multiple user. Now it's time to decide to whom you want to deactivate. So suppose in this case I am going to deactivate the Jessica Turner for the reason that she leaves the company, and I have to deactivate their account. So I click on the edit option given next to it, and when I click on it, it redirects me to the edit page of the Jessica Turner. Now here you can see that on the right side I have a one checkbox named as a activate, which by default is activated, which is checked. Now to deactivate this user, I uncheck this checkbox by clicking on that, and it shows me a pop-up which asking that deactivating a user remove them from all the delegated groups and sharing privileges. The following page prompts you to remove the user from any terms. You can still transfer this user record to an active user and view a username under the manage user. You simply need to click on OK, and finally you need to click on a save. So with this you have successfully deactivate a user in Salesforce Lightning. Now we will proceed and learn to deactivate a user in Salesforce Classic. Now your first step is to log in into your Salesforce account in a Classic experience with the help of a credentials. Once you logged into the Classic experience, the next step is to click on the setup option located on the top right side. Once you click on the setup, it redirects you to the Classic setup. Now on the left side you have a quick find box. You here type users and click on the users option, or either you can move to the administrator section and here you have a manage user drop down, and from here you can click on the users option directly. You can follow any of the method. So when you click on the users, is open up the page in which the all user list are opened. Now it's time to choose up the user to whom you want to deactivate. So here I am going to deactivate a user Jack Brown because of some security issues, and here I click on the edit option given next to it, and once I click, it redirects me to the user specific page, and here I have an active checkbox, so which is by default checked. Now I untick this by clicking on that, and when I untick that, it shows me a pop-up that deactivating a user removed from the all the groups and privileges. You simply need to click on the OK and click on the save button to finally save your changes. It successfully deactivates the user. So now we will learn to reactivate a user. So let's firstly understand what does we mean by reactivating of a user. Reactivating a user in Salesforce means restoring the access and privileges of a previously deactivated user. When a user is reactivated, they are able to do all the functionalities in Salesforce that they did before their deactivation. And in the various scenarios, we can reactivate the user. If a previously deactivated user is returned or rehired to the company, you would reactivate their account. The next case is that you can reactivate the user account to provide a continued access if the contract gets extended. And sometimes a user may be deactivated accidentally, so the reactivation process is necessary in that condition. So now we will proceed and learn to reactivate a user in Salesforce Lightning. So your first step is to log in into your Salesforce account by filling up your credentials successfully. And once you're logged in, your next step is to check whether you are in a Lightning experience or in Classic. If you are in a Classic, shift to the Lightning first, as we are going to discuss how to reactivate a user in the Lightning experience. So once you reached on your Lightning experience, your next step is to click on the gear icon located on the top right side, and from here click on the setup option. It will open some a new tab where you will redirect to the main setup page of a Lightning experience. So once you reached on the main setup homepage, your next step is to move to the left hand side, and here you will find a quick find box. In this quick find box, you need to search for the users. So when you search for the users, it open up the section with the users, and it shows you multiple options regarding the users. Now here we have a one option with the name users. You need to click on that. Once you click on it, it redirects you to the next page here where you will get the list of all the users that are presented in your Salesforce org. Now it's time to choose up the user. Now it's time to choose up the user to whom you want to activate. So before I will show you the step how to reactivate the user, firstly I want to show you something. Here you can see on the top we have a view, and inside we have a drop down. In this we have activate users, admin users and all users. This is known as a list view in Salesforce. So when you click on the activate users, it shows you the name of only that users that are activated. So when you click on the all user, it gives you the list of the all the users that are in a Salesforce org. So if you need to click on the all users, if you are by default click to the activate user, because in the activate user list you will not get the list of the employees or a user to whom you deactivated. Now select the employee to whom you want to reactivate. So here I am going to reactivate the Jack Brown. So I click on the edit option given next to it. So when I click on it, it open up the page of the Jack Brown detail, and here you can see that on the right side I have a one checkbox named activate, and by default it is unchecked. So now it's time to check it again. So I click on this box, it get a tick mark, so it means it's successfully checked. And now I click on the save button to finally save the changes. So it successfully reactivate my user in Salesforce Lightning. So now next we will learn how to reactivate a user in Salesforce Classic. So now your first step is to log in into your Salesforce account in the Classic experience. Once you logged in, your next step is to click on the setup option given on the top right side. Once you redirect to the Salesforce Classic setup, you can search for users in the quick find box. So here I search for the users. Here I get a users option. So I click on it. Once I click on it, it redirects me to the page where list of all the users are shown. Now it's time to choose up the user to whom you want to reactivate. So here I want to reactivate the Jessica Turner because by mistaken I have deactivated this user. So I click on the edit button given next to it. So when I click on the edit option, it open up the user detail page of the Jessica Turner. Here I have a checkbox with the name activate. I click this checkbox and tick it to activate it again, and once I click on it, it get a tick mark. So I finally click on the save button to save the changes. So when I click on the save button, it successfully reactivate my user again in Salesforce Classic. So with this, we have completed our today's session. In the next session, we will learn how to unlock a user in Salesforce.